We just made $19,120 in 20 days. That's right, $1,000 a day in the last month, and this is how we did it. Now, this lead called us from our radio ad. She was actually calling on behalf of her dad. The house belonged to her dad in South Dallas, but her dad was in jail. The home had been vandalized like 3 or 4 times. People kept breaking in and stealing shit. The dad was going to be in jail for a little bit more time, and he figured that he needed the funds as opposed to letting the house sit because the house was in very bad condition. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's a 2, just because it was a structure with a front door and a back door and some stuff in between. But the house was pretty much a tear down, and I believe that's what our buyer was going to use it for. That was their intention, to tear down the property and then build up a new construction property. Now, the seller didn't really have an asking price when she called, but in our initial conversation, she did let me know that the house was in very bad condition. And when they go on and on and on about the repairs that are needed and the physical appearance and condition of the property, I typically will ask them, okay, so in your opinion, it would be better for us to tear this house down and then just build a brand new one. Most sellers, if they're being real with themselves, and if it is in a similar condition to this property that we're talking about today, we'll probably go ahead and admit that, yeah, the house probably would be better off if it was torn down, and that was the case here. So when they already feel like the house is in really bad condition, their expectation is already kind of set that they're not going to get a lot of money for the property. And so I like to ask that question to lead them to me being able to offer only land value even though there's a house there, okay? So since that expectation is already set, I let them know, okay, if that is the case, we probably are going to look to pick up this property, tear it down, and build another one so I can offer you land value, but we also have to consider the fact that it may cost around $8,000 to $10,000 just to knock down this property, scrape everything off, and get the lot build ready for the next house. So with that in mind, and me knowing the area, of course, I offered the seller $50,000 for the property. She wasn't really against it because that is what the county appraised the value of the land at. And so she was feeling like, okay, this is the true value of the lands. So I offered the $50,000 on the phone. She seemed okay with that, but still I did meet her at the property. Go ahead and walk it and see its true condition, as y'all can see here. The teardown idea ain't that far off. So after walking the property, kind of pointed out some things, kind of agreed with them on the condition as I'm walking through, like, yeah, this is pretty bad. Just pointing out certain things and letting them understand why this may be better off as a teardown. The floor was caving in, the roof was completely gone, the foundation was done. Every room had major cracks, holes in the walls, the windows were busted out, the water heater had been stolen, there was no HVAC unit that had been stolen. I mean, the house was pretty much gutted with the exception of all the junk that was in there. After walking the property, we got back to talking about the offer price and how we could move forward. I brought back up to $50,000. They were kind of now thinking they could maybe get a little bit more, but then I mentioned to her, hey, since this is not your property and you're calling us on behalf of your dad, I could technically pay you a referral fee because the $50,000 for the property was all going to her dad. She wasn't going to get that money. Her dad was in prison and she had the POA, or power of attorney, over him, giving her the power to make business and financial decisions for him, including the sale of his property. So she was able to sign the purchase agreement, but all of the funds were going into an account that were going to go to the father. So I let her know, hey, you could also see $1,500 from this as a referral fee for calling us on behalf of your dad. So once I let her know that, and that the referral fee would be on top of the $50,000, she was all for it. She was happy to go ahead and start the process, and that's exactly what we did. On the spot, we signed a purchase agreement for $50,000, and I had her sign a JV agreement letting her know she would receive $1,500 at the closing table from us. Okay, we got the deal locked up at $50,000. My partner Justin sent it out to some buyers that we knew are actively buying in the South South Dallas area. We got a buyer to come back with an offer at $71,000. So that leaves us a $21,000 assignment fee, but we didn't see all that money. Here's why. Out of that $21,000, like I mentioned, we paid $1,500 in a referral fee, and then we also paid about $380 in title costs and fees on behalf of the seller, because once we locked it up, we did let them know we will pay our closing costs, and so that came out to be about $380 that they were going to be responsible for, but we took that hit as well. After taking out those fees, that left us with $19,120 for our total assignment fee, and we were able to take that home in just 20 days. From contract to the day we closed was 20 days, leaving us about $1,000 a day while we worked on this transaction. I would say it was pretty worth it. The only issues we ran into here was there was a small city lien on the house, which the title company ordered the payout for. So that wasn't an issue, got that taken care of. And in addition to her dad, her mother was also on the title, but her mother had passed away. So we had to do an affidavit of heirship for the mother. That wasn't really a big deal because the kids were living, and then her interest would revert back to her husband, which we already knew, and we conveyed that to them in the beginning. So that's what they were expecting. So we did the affidavit of heirship. The seller already had a power of attorney over her dad, so she was already able to sign for him. They had already taken care of that paperwork. So this is a pretty easy deal, actually. Not a lot of roadblocks on this. The only key takeaways I will give you guys is you just always want to be the professional, all right? And the way you can convey that message to the sellers is asking the right questions up front. And then when you actually meet with them or speak to them again, you want to provide solutions to the concerns that they had. In this case, the concern was if the POA was going to be valid, how would they do an affidavit of heirship and take care of the mom's interest on the property? And so we were able to easily walk them through that. And then they also were concerned with the condition of the property and how bad the condition was. And so me, coming off as a professional, let them know, hey, that's not a problem, but we will probably have to buy this at land value. That is a strategy that we use all the time. If the house is in really bad condition, even though it is a potential that the home could be rehabbed, we like to go in with, hey, this will probably have to be a tear down. So not only do I need this at land value, but we need to also take about $10,000 away from that because we have to pay for the demolition and removal of the property or structure that's currently on the land. That's all I got for y'all today, man. $20,000 in 20 days. That's another deal breakdown. That's another 5 figures in the books for us. And we're going to keep doing these deals, and I'm going to keep on breaking them down for y'all. If you got any value from this video at all, or if you want to continue to see deal breakdowns just like this every single week, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell so you can get those notifications as soon as I drop so you won't miss a story, man. Until next time, tap in.